Morning, everybody. Mr. Webb here. I'm going to give you a brief little introduction on how to access the BPS mental and emotional health app on your Launchpad. So when you log into your Launchpad, this is the same place where you would find Focus and Performance Matters. There should be a new icon on there that looks like this, a light bulb that says BPS Mental Emotional Health Education for 22-23. Should have been placed on there for you today. If it's not on there, up in the upper left-hand corner, you can always open up the app library and search for BPS Mental Emotional Health. It should be there, but it should be on your Launchpad. It should have been pushed through today. So when you click on this icon, it will open up the BPS Mental and Health Education website. Now, depending on which grade level you're teaching, you will, on the upper right-hand side, select middle school for 7th and 8th grade, or the 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, or 12th grade lessons. And those should be made access to you all today. So for instance, I don't have access to these yet, but the 9th grade lessons you would find here. The 10th grade lessons you would find here. So I'm going to go back to middle school because I asked for permission to access this. We were told that these would be accessible to all teachers on the 6th, which is today. So I imagine that that will be happening very shortly. When you enter the website for your grade level, on the left-hand side is the lesson itself, and on the right-hand side is a facilitator's guide, should you wish to have it open or printed or whatever you wish. Now, to open up the lesson itself, you simply hover over the lesson, and then in the upper right-hand corner, right here, it's how you open the presentation. When you open the presentation, it will open full screen for you to present to your students. In the lower left-hand corner, you can advance and go back if a student should ask you maybe to go back. You also have some things to utilize here, some tools. You can download the presentation as a PDF. You can also have a laser pointer, so if you want to use it when talking with your students. Okay, so I'm going to turn that off. There are a couple things. One is the ground rules, and the ground rules, I know we've seen it before. However, there are some ground rules that are kind of important, like, you know, the things that you talk about in your homeroom, they should stay in your homeroom. But it also mentions that if something comes up where a student tells you something that is reportable, like if they're saying that there's abuse or anything like that, that would have to be reported here at school too. And so one of the ground rules also is not to tell personal stories, because we don't want to try to interpret personal stories. And so if there's something that they want to share that's of a personal nature like that, and you're comfortable with them sharing it with you, and then you sharing it with a guidance counselor, or if they want to talk to a guidance counselor about something in particular, they can feel free to do that. There are discussion points through here, but they're discussing the characters in the videos that they're watching. So after you've watched the ground rules, that you can click forward. There's some true or false. Feel free to be creative with how you want the students to tell you if they think something is true or false. In this, they have them doing exercises if they're true or false. There's a timer. You'll have to click it forward. Once you see people are engaging, you can do that. Me, I can't dance, so I would choose true. In this case, I would be right, because that actually looks like me dancing. And so then we move on to our lesson. And so some of these bullet points are things that you just want, are just explanatory. And so you just share with the student what's on there. And we could talk about the thing, and then it talks about things that get in the way of mental health. And so stress is a big one, and kind of talk about the different ways that we go about promoting good mental health for ourselves. Remember, some of those things the students don't have much to say about, for instance, you know, the quality of the food that they're getting and things like that. But they do have the ability to see where they need some help in some of those areas. So, and then there's a video here, and this video is over 5 minutes long, 5 minutes and 40 seconds. It's going to take a large portion of our time. However, you'll notice that at about 4 minutes and 50 seconds or so, so we can cut quite a bit out of this because the rest of that simply credits for the video they just watched. It's really important to watch the videos because that's going to give them a lot of good information. And then these discussions, you can kind of flex how long or short each one of these discussions is going to take. And so when you're talking about how the characters are feeling, you know, you have everyday feelings and overwhelming feelings, and those do overlap. So, you know, being able to identify how people manage everyday feelings. When they're identifying with the character, they're also hopefully thinking about how they're managing their everyday feelings as well. Um, and then coping mechanisms. This is with regard to our second character in the video, Andre, and he's managing overwhelming feelings. And then there's a discussion. So when we talk about depression, this isn't our lesson on depression. This is just an identification. And so it's bringing up the idea that it is there, and that it's distinguishable from other other symptoms that other students might be feeling, or those students might be feeling. So we can, you know, mention some of these symptoms to identify behavior changes as well. You know, if they see themselves doing these things, that may be something where they want to have a talk with their guidance counselor. Okay, talk with a trusted adult. We want to tell them that on a regular basis, that if they're concerned about themselves, if they're concerned about the friend, talk to a trusted adult. And our guidance counselors are always available for that as well. Okay, so 29 slides to this presentation. If you don't get through the entire presentation, that's okay. We're going to get through what we can. And our guidance counselors are always available, and these help and resources are something that they have access to at all times. So if they have any questions at all, they can visit with their guidance counselor for help with this. All right. So thank you very much for this, and I wish you a wonderful day.